What's going on, hockey fans, and welcome to episode number 78 of Marty's Illegal Stick, recording here on Friday, May 20th, 2022. We don't normally record on Friday, but this is a special edition, guys, because we recorded Tuesday night with episode 77. We did our pregame primer for the Utica Comets Game 4 against the Rochester Americans, which worked out really well. Not that game. You know, you screwed it up.
No, I didn't.
Oh, it worked out well for
that game. That's what I'm talking about. That game, it worked out well. All right.
Yeah.
But we didn't get. We got so wrapped up into that, and by the time we were done, it was game time.
Yeah.
So we didn't get to talk about everything else that's going on in the hockey world because there's a ton going on right now. Namely, the NHL Playoffs are in full swing. So what we're going to do this episode, we're going to cover everything else, and then we'll talk about the Comets at the end because I want to save that for the end. Okay, good. All right, so in the meantime, I'm going to bring in our panel here for this power hour, shall we say, because, well, Dave and I are supposed to be doing date night tonight with our wives. And
not with ourselves.
No,
Yeah,
our wives.
yeah.
Our wives. And, boy, were we reminded, you guys were supposed to, okay, just give us an hour. That's all we want is an hour. Anyways, I just mentioned him, our producer, our sidekick, Dave the Save Warner. What's going on?
Good afternoon. Good
evening, yeah.
Yeah, evening, whatever the heck we're at.
Yeah, something like that.
Just made it into the evening.
Yeah. So how you been?
Oh, I'm not going to talk about it till the end.
Okay.
All right.
Fair enough. And coming to us live via satellite from Annapolis, Maryland, he is the one, the only, the guy who seems to like coming on this show a lot. I hope he comes on a lot more, Mr. Drew Bray. What's up, buddy?
Hey, man. Glad to be here. Love to be here. Love to talk hockey. You know how I do.
You know what? You came to the right place because that's what we do here.
Yep. 100%.
Exactly.
Like, I feel bad for your Comets, but
yeah, we'll talk about that. But yeah. Well, hey, and I'm a Kings fan, so this has been a really bad week.
The National League is bananas.
Like, it is. It's absolutely insane right now.
Yeah.
You know, and that's
great to watch.
And that's why we had to do the show this week. We had to because there's just so much going on, and we didn't want to not cover it.
Too. Yeah.
Yeah, because I mean, if we'd have waited till next week, everything's already old news.
Yep.
You know, so we only want to be like day behind news, not completely old news, right? So.
Right. I mean, kudos to you because like you're gonna have to fill the whole summer.
Well, you know what?
Now it's going great.
I got a plan for that. Don't worry about it. I got a plan. We'll see how it works out, but
it went well last summer.
It did.
We had plenty to talk about.
It did. Well, it's like I told you, you know, this summer, the plan is to like dive into like hockey history a little bit.
Yep.
I want to get some authors of hockey books on to talk about different various topics. So it's going to be a fun summer.
Yeah.
But anyways, right now we got a fun spring going on, you know, and right now the NHL is in the second round of their playoffs. But before we get into that second round, we did a show a few weeks back about the first round where Dave the Save and I made our picks. And now that first round is over, we can just briefly recap that. So you ready for this?
I'm ready.
All right.
I don't think I did so badly.
You know what? I have to say,
Minnesota is where I died.
I have to say you didn't. You know what? It's like I was telling somebody the other day. I says, you know, when Dave started with this show, he knew nothing about hockey. But the guy's been like a hockey sponge, just taking in all this knowledge. This is like Star Wars, right?
Hockey sponge.
He has become like a hockey Jedi now. It's Luke Dave Walker over here.
Yeah, but I did learn something actually.
You did.
I always sit here wondering how sports guys know all this information in their head. And I think I mentioned it last show. If I asked you, who played goalie for the Rangers in 1940, you'd whip a name out. And it's like, okay, I don't even.
Yeah.
Yeah. Stop. Just stop.
Yeah. Okay. You caught that too. Okay.
It's fine.
Yeah. But I mean, it's like, but watching, you actually associate with the players and the names and the positions, and it makes it easier to, when you guys sit here and you say Nico Dawes in the goal, it doesn't connect until you're watching him play the goal. And then you're like, okay, I know that guy, and you connect, shots that he blocks or doesn't or whatever, what happens. And so that visual is in your head.
Absolutely.
I think that helps a lot.
Oh, it does.
So you guys watching hockey all the time.
Absolutely.
Is important to that knowledge base.
Well, you wait till next season.
And when you hear someone's name and you hear like, if you say Nico Dawes and then you say like, well, he's an aggressive goalie and he pushes out from the crease and he's attacking the shooter, or he's a side-to-side guy.
Right.
Right.
It's way easy to identify him just by how he moves and makes saves.
Yeah.
And the more you watch, like the more you kind of ingest that.
Right.
Like you don't think about it when you're watching him.
No.
Like, oh,
No.
great
I don't know
save.
which one he is,
Great
but if I
rebound.
were to
Right.
remember watching him, I'd say aggressive.
Right.
I've seen him pushing guys, just parking there and getting them out of the way.
I'll
So-
tell you what, speaking of aggressive, one day we're going to sit down on YouTube. I'm going to show you some videos of Billy Smith and Ron Hextall. You want to talk about aggressive goalies?
Oh, wow.
We'll have some fun with that.
Okay. All right. That's good stuff.
But that first round, like I said, you weren't too bad. So for the Florida-Washington series, we both picked Florida. Sorry, Drew, but it was what it was. The Toronto-Tampa Bay series, we had a little bit of
4-1 Washington.
Well, you know what? But it's like I said in that show, I knew Washington was not going to be an easy out for the Panthers. There was no way. No way it was happening.
The Panthers showed some grit that I did not expect.
Yeah, yeah. And then what was that
They kept
game?
coming back?
What was that game 5 where they just had like that 5-minute explosion for like 3 or 4 goals, and that was the difference right there.
I mean, and the Caps are up 3-0 at that point.
Yeah,
3-0. So,
yeah.
I mean, kudos.
It is what it is. But I mean, you knew Florida was going to be a buzzsaw coming in, but like I said, the Caps were not going to roll over for them by any stretch of the imagination.
Yep.
The Toronto-Tampa Bay series, we had a little bit of a difference of opinion. You went with the Leafs. I went with the Lightning. And just as a recap, the reason I said the Lightning in 7, and we both picked 7 games.
Yeah.
Because I said, who would you rather have in goal for game 7? Would you rather have Andrei Vasilevsky or Jack Campbell? And as great of a guy as Jack Campbell is, you got to go with Vasilevsky, right? And that's basically what happened, really. But anyways, and that wasn't me being intelligent. That was me just making a spitball guess.
Well, no, you had all the stats in front of you.
Well,
that's what you were going off of.
Well, it was just like you cheating at Breakaway Trivia with your phone. But anyways.
I haven't touched my phone.
No, but Scott, it's like we talked about. It's like if you want to be the man, you got to be.
You got to beat the man. Woo!
And right,
balls out.
I know.
Sorry.
The Leafs had the weapons, but didn't have the defense.
Yep, exactly.
And huge.
That's going to be a very interesting offseason in Toronto too.
Yeah. Oh, geez. Although they said that Dubas,
their coaching staff's staying.
Yeah.
Coaches are staying. The general manager's staying.
Yep.
So that means players are going. There's no doubt.
Somebody's moving.
Yep. Not a doubt.
And I think that Campbell's off his entry deal.
Oh, yeah. He's been off his entry deal for a while.
So, yeah, he's done.
And now he's hitting unrestricted. So,
yeah.
So it's going to be very interesting to see what happens up there. Not to mention they're right up against the cap anyway. But so I got a feeling one of those big dollar contracts is going bye-bye.
Yep.
So we both misfired on Carolina and Boston. We both thought that the Bruins were going to upset the Hurricanes. They tried. They got it to game 7.
They got close.
They got it there, but to no avail. Carolina was just too much for them in the end. Enough said. The Pittsburgh Rangers series, we both went with the Rangers. But boy, was that closer than I thought it was going to be.
Yeah. But, like we talked about last pod, was if Crosby doesn't play, it's a different series.
Yeah.
And he didn't play only one game.
It was game 6.
But I also question his ability in game 7 because of missing game 6.
Right.
And now what's going on in Pittsburgh? Like they're going to lowball Malkin?
Yeah, but here's the thing, right? So you got Malkin, you got Letang, and Brian Rust all need new contracts. Chances of them fitting all 3 in aren't very good.
Not good.
So if you're going to pick one of those guys to let walk, who do you let walk?
I don't know, but Sid's not happy with lowballing any of them, especially Letang and Malkin. So that's the chemistry is interesting aside from the money.
Yeah. Yeah,
and
it is.
So, I mean, people will pay for Letang or Malkin, especially Letang.
Oh, absolutely.
Like a defensive, not just shutdown guy, but also puck mover.
Yep.
Man, he can go a lot of places with that.
Rumors are hot and heavy for him going to Montreal.
Yeah, it's going to be good.
He's from Montreal, so.
Really?
Yep. Same thing with Bergeron.
Yeah.
You imagine that one? Oh boy.
If they have the cash.
Yeah. Well, Montreal apparently is going to have all kinds of cap space. So, we'll see. We'll see what happens. But that's going to be extremely interesting to see how that whole thing shakes out. By the way, I want to ask you something. Sure. That Game 7, Rangers in Pittsburgh, Louis Domingue didn't play bad in that series coming in relief. Do you think, in retrospect, they should have started Domingue instead of bringing in a cold Tristan Jarry who hadn't played, six games?
We talked about this.
Yeah.
And I said, do you bring in Jarry and say, like, now he's healthy and replace Domingue?
Yeah.
I thought Domingue played exceptional. And,
the circumstance he was handed? Absolutely.
Yeah. But there's also, like, when you're playing goal, it is very much like chemistry driven. Like,
sure it is.
You're feeling it. You're part of the game. And, like, to pull you out and then put in this guy who is, I mean, on paper, a better goalie. 100%. But how do you pull a guy that's winning for you?
Right. It's all rhythm.
Very tough. Like, I don't know.
Yeah.
Like, if I'm Pittsburgh's front office, I'm like,
I don't know.
Yeah, it's not.
I mean, I wouldn't want to be in that position because think about it this way, right? If the Penguins lose Game 7 with Domingue in net, then it's all going to be, well, you had Jarry available. Why didn't you put him in?
Right.
And so Louis Domingue wasn't even your regular backup in the regular season. He was in the AHL. So, I mean, it's
damned if you do, damned if you don't.
Exactly.
He was playing great.
Yeah.
He was playing exceptional hockey.
I don't envy Coach Sullivan having to make that decision at all, but it is what it is. And the Rangers move on. Let's flip over to the Western Conference there, Dave the Save. So we both called Colorado steamrolling Nashville. I think that was probably the safest bet of the first round. To be perfectly honest with you,
look safe now.
I think that was almost a given. Even though interesting to note, and I think we talked about this at the end of that. Well, it was a sweep. Game 4 was in Nashville. Philip Forsberg, pending free agent. Philip Forsberg took an extra long time saying goodbye to the fans. So the fact that they couldn't get that extension done during the season tells me he's going to go to the market and somebody is going to back up the Brinks truck to pay this guy. And we'll have another show about this later on down the road as soon as we get closer to free agent frenzy. But I'm just going to put this out there right now. Watch out for New Jersey and LA loading up to try to get him. Somebody's going to overpay, but
I mean, he's probably the best pure scorer that's going to be available on the market.
Oh, yeah.
So, and he's going to demand that kind of money. So if you have that kind of cap space.
Totally agree.
Yeah.
You do what you have to do.
Yep.
You absolutely do what you have to do. The other series was Minnesota and St. Louis. So we had a little split on that one. Dave the Save went the route of the wild. And I was going to, if you recall, but I changed my mind that day when I looked at the stats.
Because you looked at the stats.
And I went to St. Well, I gave you listen, there was no hiding anything from you. There was no I laid it all out.
Other than you had a whole day to think about it.
Well,
put me on the spot.
Yeah, but you know what? That way I could have overthought it, though, too.
True.
You imagine that, me overthinking?
Not a bit.
Anyway, St. Louis's experience really won that series out.
Yep.
And Jordan Binnington channeling his inner 2019, really. Because if you recall, Billy Husso was the starter going into that.
Yeah, and, I was a Minnesota guy. Like with Kasparov, like just the way that he was playing. But, I mean, I definitely underestimated St. Louis's playoff experience.
Yeah.
And the way that those guys are playing right now. Like, they know how to win in the postseason.
Sure they do. But
like,
you know what?
Not all of them, but you forget that they won a cup.
Right.
2 years ago. Like, those guys know how to grind. They
exactly.
know how to do it. And you can't be fancy.
Nope. Not in the playoffs. I want to adopt these kids.
It's not. These guys know how to win. And I definitely counted them out way too early.
Yeah. Well, let's put it this way. They were up and down for 3/4 of the season, so it's not hard to do. They just turned it on at the right time, really.
Yep.
The other series, let's see, Calgary and Dallas. was a series that was much closer than I thought it was going to be. It appears thanks to Jake Ottinger, the Dallas goaltender, who was just
oh my God. Can we talk about him?
Sure.
Like, this dude is going to be a superstar in this league for a long time.
Yep.
64 shots.
Yeah, exactly.
This dude is amazing. Like, when the other team's goaltender says to you in the handshake line, you're going to have a long career in this league, that kid is bananas in the net.
Yep.
Like,
exactly.
He is just, I mean, whew, I was blown away. Like I said, like I've told you this before, like I'm not watching that game in the middle of the season. I'm just not. I don't care.
Right.
But in the playoffs, that kid is ridiculous. And he's going to have a very, very long, and he's going to win a cup somewhere.
Oh, yeah. Well, yeah, but I mean, Dallas is going to have to get him a better sporting staff.
Well, it might not be Dallas.
You know, he's still in his RFA year, so he's going to be stuck there for a little while anyways. Yep. But no, he was the reason that went 7 and why it was even as close as it was. And so, and by the way, like I said, Dave and I both picked Calgary. And then the last one.
I did. I picked Calgary too.
Oh, who wouldn't?
But right, but I mean, he kept them in it. Like, that should not have been a 7-game series.
Oh, there's no way. Right. There's no way. And then, of course, the last series, I got to get this out of the way. The Oilers and the Kings. Oh, God. Oh, it was awful. It was brutal. The Kings basically got Connor McDavid is basically what happened. Connor McDavid pretty much just took over that entire series. Of course, the Kings were up 3-2, and then they lost in 7. You know, like I said, Connor McDavid just completely lights out, and just the guy is a human video game. He really is. Just unbelievable. But I will say that, you know, it stinks to watch your team lose, and everybody knows I'm an unabashed LA Kings fan. But I'm actually pretty proud that they made it a 7-game series without Drew Doughty or Victor Arvidsson for the whole series. So they hung in there. They didn't have enough in the end. I mean, that was, you know, there was just too much Edmonton. So that's exactly what happened. And
I mean, it's a revolver. Like, poison.
Yeah, it's a buzzsaw.
Yeah.
It is. So that means we have our great 8, so to speak, left. So before we dive into the current second round, I just want to point something out. There are a lot of people out there that think that the NHL should go back to the 1 through 8 conference seedings. Okay, so your number 1 seed in the West plays your number 8 seed. Number 1 seed in the East plays your number 8 seed. And, you know, 2, 7, 3, blah, blah, blah. What do you think about that, Drew?
Well, it's not that I think that that's a bad approach, except that it's the reseeding after each round that becomes interesting, right?
Yeah.
Initially that seems fine. But then if you're the 8 seed and let's say the Caps beat the Panthers.
Right.
Like, do the Caps now have the 1 seed path?
No.
Or do they have to
reseed
after each round? Right. So, yeah, I don't know. I mean, the current format feels pretty okay to me.
I don't mind it.
Yeah, I don't either. Doesn't bother
really
me.
don't. I don't.
I mean, it's merit based on the regular season, which kind of sucks because you could be in a hot division.
Right,
where you're playing behind Florida, who's putting up 116, 120 points.
That's the Atlantic this year. It was just bananas.
So, like, if you put up 112 and they put up 116 and you're the 2nd seed, like, you're not a division winner. So now you're relegated to the wild card. And it gets weird. I mean, I think that the playoff format now is pretty good. Like, I don't hate it.
I don't. You know what the thing is like, I've always liked having division rivalries in the first round. I've always been a big fan of that, just because it brings so much excitement to the table, right? And that extra little bit of hatred in the series, you know. And
but I mean, let's look at this year though. But let's look at this year. Like, you got the Battle of Alberta,
Yeah, in the second round.
Florida teams going at it.
Exactly.
I'm here for it.
Yeah. It worked out the way it was supposed to.
Yeah.
You know?
I mean, my team's out, but like I'm really loving this.
Right. Exactly. But I did a little research again. Look, Dave just rolled his eyes. I thought his eyes were going to bounce off the ceiling.
Yeah.
So, anyways, I just did a little quick research thing here just to see what the playoffs would have looked like if it was 1 through 8. The Eastern Conference would have been exactly the same.
Yeah.
Wow.
Exactly the same. It would have been, or no, I'm sorry. No, I'm wrong about that. It would have been the Panthers and the Capitals. Would have been one playing 8. The Hurricanes would have played the Penguins. Kind of interesting. The Leafs and the Bruins, which, you know what, thank God, because I'm actually kind of sick of that matchup, to be honest with you.
Original 6?
I know, but it was every year for like 4 years straight.
Yeah.
And then, of course, the Rangers would have played the Lightning.
Ooh.
That would have been a fun series.
Yeah. What does the Gump say about the Rangers? He's got to be loving it.
Yeah.
Well, you know what, though? Here's the thing about the Gump, right? You should have heard it when they were down.
Yeah,
You were here, right? You were here
the
for that.
Gramps thing, yeah.
Yeah. They stink. That's it. They're not passing. They're not hitting. Now, again, they're the greatest team in the world.
Yeah.
I said, but a week ago, they were terrible. You were ready to send them to the ECHL. I said, okay. I said, whatever, Gump. Yeah.
I love it.
Yeah. But I mean, in the Western Conference would have been Colorado and Nashville. So that's what I meant. The 1 and 8s wouldn't have changed.
Yeah.
The other ones would have been Minnesota and Dallas, which would have been kind of interesting. The old North Stars versus the New Stars.
Yeah. 100%. Yeah, that would have been
Flames and Kings. That would have been a pretty good matchup. And it would have been the Blues and the Oilers. Imagine that one in the first round.
Oof.
But we've got what we've got. That's all speculation and all hearsay. Let's deal with the here and now. So what do we want to talk about first? We want to talk about the Eastern Conference?
Sure.
All right, let's talk about it. The Battle of Florida, the Panthers and the Lightning. Now, you know what? This was one that I was actually clamoring for because I really think that hockey in the state of Florida needs that. They need that big rivalry between the Panthers and the Lightning. And, somebody's got to knock the Lightning off their throne, right? It's got to happen. So who better than their in-state rival, right? Especially the team that put together this buzzsaw of a team all year long, won the President's Trophy, which everybody knows is the kiss of death. But, you figured this year was the year that was going to change. And I put my picks on Facebook, by the way. And somebody pointed out that I was obsessed with the number 6. And I guess they were right. But I'm looking at all these
definitely 6-game series all day.
But you know what, though? These matchups are so close. You can't possibly predict a sweep.
Yeah, but you have to go 7 on some of them. I
couldn't decide which one, though.
The thing with the Lightning and Panthers watching this series so far is so different from the way that the Caps played the Panthers. The Lightning is playing right into their wheelhouse.
Yeah.
They're willing to make it a race. Up and down the ice, make it happen. I mean, if you have Vasilevsky in the net, it makes a big difference, right? He stands up, this dude on his knees covers 3/4 of the net.
Right, exactly.
But seeing the Lightning win, I think it's going to be closer than people think. I would say probably Lightning in 7. They're just too much, too physical. And maybe the Panthers will prove me wrong, like they did in the first round. They get gritty. Although I'm watching their power play and are we really putting Barkov on the point?
Yeah.
That's nuts.
But that's the thing.
You put your best scorer close to the net.
I know.
I can't. Well, which is probably why that they were 0 for 25.
Which is unbelievable.
Right. You can't be that. You cannot be that kind of scoring team and not score on the power play.
How does that happen? How? I mean, that's beyond bad luck. You gotta make some adjustments.
It is systems. It is, you are not doing it right because you have the weapons to put the puck in the net.
Sure.
And then you watch the Lightning, and it is precision.
It is. They're like a machine.
Like, did you see Kucherov's pass the other night?
Yeah, it was ridiculous.
Into an empty net.
Yeah.
Like, I think that the Panthers have the talent, but I don't think that their systems are there. And you know what? I'll die on that cross because they beat my team and they just continue to do it.
I know, but of course, now they lost both of those games at home.
I know.
So now they got to go to Tampa.
Yeah, but Florida, like,
they got to go to Tampa
at home.
But Tampa is a hard place to play, though.
Yeah.
That town's gone hockey crazy. They love the Lightning there. Of course, it's not hard when your team's winning the Stanley Cup year after year. I mean, imagine that, right?
Yep.
I mean, somebody said something. I think it was on Twitter the other day or something like that. So for Game 2, there were still tickets available on game day in Florida for Game 2, starting at $50.
Wow.
How does that happen in an NHL city in the second round of the playoffs when your team is favored to win and they're down by a game?
Yeah.
Well,
the fact that there's sunshine all the time and beautiful beaches and women, and
but
I don't know how that could happen.
You know why that could happen? Because if you're there all the time, you would get used to it, right?
No.
It would just be like if you were. Yeah, it would. Because if you were given steak every night for dinner, say it was your favorite food, steak, every night, after like a week or two, you'd be like, you know what? I think I want something else, right?
Take more than a week.
Or
all right.
if you could have steak or go see a pro hockey game, you might be like, well, I've had steak for the last 10 nights.
Yeah. But Drew,
I'm going to show up.
At these modern arenas, you can get a steak anyway.
Yeah, true.
Yeah.
So what's the point, right?
Although I have to say that at Oriole Park today, we had horrible food.
Really?
Yeah. It was catered in our suite, and it was horrible.
Really?
It was horrible. Yeah. I mean, I saw a decent baseball game that the Yanks lost in spectacular fashion on a walk-off grand slam.
Yeah.
The food was bad.
Yeah.
So, you might want to have the steak, then go to the game.
Yeah. Well, I thought you'd be loading up on crab cake there, being in Baltimore.
Well, there were crab cakes there, but they were horrible. They were bad.
You're afraid to eat them.
Yeah.
Well, the fact that they moved on the plate.
Yeah. All of a sudden, this little claw comes out of it.
Yeah, but,
a little undercooked.
When the Caps were in the Southeast Division, right, and the Panthers were part of that Southeast Division, like there were nights that we would watch games, and that far side, which is the TV side of the crowd, was half full, maybe. And I mean, they had so many years when they were terrible, right?
Yeah.
And now, obviously, President's Trophy winners, like those guys can play. But are you pulling? Who's your fan base? Like you're Miami,
yeah,
but you're not pulling in Lightning fans at all because the Lightning have won 2 cups in a row.
Right.
Like, they're not rooting for the Panthers.
Right.
And, I don't know how much of a home ice advantage it is for them. I mean, they're filling it up now, obviously, but.
Yeah, after a little bit of a struggle. I mean, I wonder if the Heat doing as well as the Miami Heat from the NBA.
Yeah.
Doing as well as is hurting them as well.
Yeah, for sure.
Because you still have competition for that entertainment dollar, right?
Yep.
I mean, obviously the Marlins aren't going to be a competition for that. But the Miami Heat sure as heck are.
This early in the season.
No.
Like if they were on a playoff run, like that's
right.
But you have sports fans there, and it's really an interesting dynamic in South Florida because but I love the Battle of Florida. Like it's great. Like if this rivalry can become something that is significant, and whether it's playoffs or regular season, that the Panthers say, all right, the Lightning's coming to town. Let's do it. Right? We're going to win the state. And I'm just not seeing that yet.
Well, and everybody's, it's well known. A rivalry isn't a rivalry until both sides have won something, right? It can't be one-sided all the time.
I've always said that about the Yanks and Red Sox.
Oh.
Yeah, well, thanks. Yeah, that was you in 2004, wasn't it? That was you.
1 year. Way
to go, Drew.
Right. So you're right. Yeah, it's not a rivalry until it's close. and I mean, I felt the same thing about the Caps and Pens.
Yeah,
right?
true.
I mean, we as Caps fans, we felt that it was a rivalry until we beat them.
Sure.
Right, and because they always won.
Right.
And so, like, it wasn't really a rivalry for them. And I mean, the league loved it because you had Sid and Ovi.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, but I think that the Battle of Florida could grow into something, and it's been fun to watch so far.
Yeah, I mean,
except that Tampa's just letting Florida play their game. I mean, they're winning. Tampa's winning, which is fine.
Right.
But I just feel like they're letting Tampa skate the puck into the zone the way they like, move it ticky-tacky, snap it. And yeah, I mean, I think that that's dangerous territory for the Lightning. I really do.
Yeah. Well, I mean, that's true. I mean, well, the Lightning pretty much dominated game one. Game two was a lot closer. And sometimes you just don't get the bounces.
Yeah.
Right. But with that said, like I said, you're the favorite. And now you got to go on the road down 2 games. So we're going to find out what the Panthers are made of.
Exactly. I think this next game is going to be a great watch.
I think so. And I think it goes without saying that I know it's game 3, but if the Panthers go down 3-0 to the Lightning, it's over.
It's over. Yep.
Call it. So can they do it though? Can they win game 3? What do you think?
On the road,
hostile environment of the MOA Arena in Tampa Bay.
It's so hard to predict because, I remember this axiom that Gretzky said when the Islanders won the Cup way back when. And he opened the door to the Islanders locker room.
Yes.
And those guys were not celebrating.
Nope. They
were exhausted,
ice packs,
throwing up. Right. And at that point, Gretz knew that's what it takes to win.
Yep.
And I think that the Lightning know what it takes to win.
Right.
And so even if they give up the game to Florida in the first game,
yeah,
I think that they don't go back to Florida.
Yeah.
It's over.
I think the Panthers are going to pull it out. Game 3, game 4, who knows? But I think I'm going to go out on a limb because, listen, I picked Florida.
You're definitely on a limb.
I'm going out on a limb and saying they're going to win game 3. They're going to make this a series. I hope so. Moving right along, Carolina and the Rangers. So, of course, there's a lot of vested local interest in this one because there's a lot of Ranger fans where we live. Anyways, Dave and I are. It looked like the Rangers were gonna win game 1. They were playing fantastic hockey until the third period. They were only up 1-0. And the thing about being up 1-0, it's especially against a team like Carolina, after a while, the levee is going to break. That's one of those cases where you really, really, really need that insurance goal. So obviously Sebastian Ajo tied it up and they won it in overtime. I can tell you right now that there are a lot of people around here that don't think Capo Caco was worth the number 2 overall pick after he missed a wide open net that could have put the Rangers up by 2. But, here's the thing. I still think this is going to be a tightly contested series. Interestingly enough, though, the Hurricanes have pretty much owned the Rangers over the past couple of years.
In the regular season, 100%.
Yeah.
But what I will say is that watching that game last night, the Rangers definitely controlled the pace of play and they dictated the game the entire way. And this is like, and again, please put in parentheses, I'm a Caps fan. So I just saw this thing the other day.
Sidebar.
The Caps have been in 17 overtime games in the playoffs in the last, 5 years or whatever. I mean, and guess what? If you had Ian Cole winning that game on your scorecard, congratulations, because no one thought that. I mean, that is one of the issues with overtime. I thought that the Rangers dominated play They dictated the pace of play, and Carolina was hanging on. And you're right. In the third period, Carolina really came like hard at the Rangers. But I actually think the Rangers are better than they're giving credit for at this point. And I think that they still win this series. Like,
wow. Okay. Well, it's
yeah,
fair.
I mean, I'll give it to Carolina for the one game, but like, guess what? If you're relying on Ian Cole to win you a game,
Yeah.
like the Rangers lineup is superstar, and Shesterkin in the net. Like, I mean, you saw that goal; it was soft. I mean, it wasn't because of Shesterkin; it was just traffic and floppy. You know,
and I still think something tipped that on the way in.
I think so too. Yeah,
I
and I don't think that was acknowledged, but and Shesterkin was clearly frustrated with that goal going in, and it didn't have anything to do with his ability. I mean, I think that the Rangers win this series, and it may go 7, but I just think that the way that they played last night, they controlled the pace of play. And Carolina was trying to get their game going, and the Rangers had it. The Rangers had it. And that's what I hate about overtime is it's one weird bounce. It's one hits the stick, hits the shaft of the stick and bounces in, and you lose one. But, I think the Rangers win.
Yeah. I'll tell you one player that really stood out, and I don't think he gets talked about enough, to be honest with you, is Sebastian Ajo, number 1 center for the Hurricanes. Yeah. He is, you know what? To me, he's basically almost a carbon copy of Alexander Barkov down in Florida. Just a solid 200-foot player. Will get you that goal when you need it. Will get you that point when you need it. Will make that play when you need it. And that's the thing, right? It's a superstar-driven league. So, sometimes it's not always the flashy guys that are going to get the recognition. But I think overall that guy is the Hurricanes, I think, anyway.
Yeah, no, you're 100% right. But I'll put it so. Interestingly enough, today or this week, Alexander Semin. Wow,
there's a blast in the past.
Yep, he announced his retirement from hockey, and he's been playing in the KHL. But imagine you're Alex.
He's still been playing.
Yeah, wow. In the KHL. Yeah, but imagine that you start with the Caps at the same time that Alex Ovechkin starts, right?
Yeah.
And I mean, not to bring up Coach's Corner or Don Cherry or whatever his xenophobic views are, but there is a stereotype for European players. And imagine you come in and you're playing next to Ovi, who does not fit that mold at all.
Yeah.
He crushes people. He hits people. He plays physically. And Semin had the skills. I mean, dude had a ridiculous wrist shot, right? And so I compare Semin to Barkov and Ajo.
Wow. Okay.
Right? Those guys do not play a full game. They are incredible scorers. It's very one-sided. Like, they're not hitting anyone, right?
No.
They're not playing on the kill, on the penalty kill. Like, they're just not.
Well, Barkov is.
Barkov is playing on the kill?
Yeah, he had like three straight goals this year.
Yeah. Yep.
That's why I drafted him in the fantasy league.
Right. Yeah. So, but what I'm saying is that like they fit. I think that Ajo and Barkov fit into that traditional, stereotypical Euro player.
Wow. Okay.
And it's not a detriment because you can manage around that for sure, right? Because those guys can fill it up, like they can play. And I mean, I've drafted Ajo in fantasy leagues. Like the guy can play.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely.
But I just don't think that. I mean, he may be a difference maker in this series, but I just don't see it. Like you have Spenajad, like you have these dudes on the other side of the line that can fill it up and shut him down.
I know, but that Carolina forecheck is ridiculous.
Yeah.
It's going to be fun. That's for sure.
Yeah,
Well,
it's going to be great.
Let's just say that you're going with the Rangers. I'm going with the Canes. All
100%.
right.
Yep.
Interesting. I like it.
I hate the Rangers.
And I'm staying with the Rangers.
You're going to stay with the Rangers.
Yep.
Okay. By the way, we never did get your pick for the Florida Tampa Bay series.
I'm going to stay with the Lightning.
Okay. Well, I'll listen to this later on, and I'll write all this down.
All right.
So we can see who was right next show.
Yeah.
All right. Let's move on to the Western Conference. So let's talk about St. Louis and Colorado. So going in now, there is a lot of people that had Colorado just steamrolling their way through the Western Conference to the finals. This guy right over here.
Yeah.
All right.
Same.
But they drew the St. Louis Blues in the second round. Now, I said all along for these playoffs, the St. Louis Blues remind me of the Washington Capitals for the same reasons. You still have veterans from a recent Stanley Cup winning team.
That's right.
The Blues play that heavy defensive forecheck game, which doesn't always translate to regular season success, but it's wonderful for the playoffs.
Yep.
Now,
it's
game one
down in the corner, grind it out. They won 3-1 through the neutral zone, and
how do you slow down a speed demon team like Colorado?
Yep.
That's exactly what you do, right?
100%.
So game one went to overtime, and Colorado ended up winning in overtime, right?
Yeah.
Everybody's going, whoa. Well, maybe it was just a game one fluke, right? Game two rolls around, and St. Louis pretty much dominated that game.
4-1?
Colorado didn't have an answer.
No.
They had no answer. Because the thing with Colorado is, and of course, sometimes Colorado is one of those teams, sometimes you got to take a chance against, right?
Yeah.
You have to be able to slow them down. And a lot of times, to be honest with you, I've seen hockey teams do this over and over again, where they play a team like a Colorado or an Edmonton, and they think, geez, we don't want to get burned, so we're just going to kind of lay back in this defensive shell and do everything you can. Well, sometimes the best defense is a good offense. And if you can keep them hemmed in and don't let them get going, that's the key right there, which is exactly what St. Louis did. And on top of it all, it appears Jordan Binnington is challenging his inner 2019 after having a nightmarish regular season where he basically lost the starting job to Ville Husso. I'm sorry. He's taken back over in the net, and now he's looking like the superstar goaltender they thought he was going to be.
Totally. And that gives St. Louis the freedom to be okay with chipping the puck out of the zone, past the D, and taking a chance.
Yeah.
Like pinching in, like taking Makar out of it. Like
exactly.
Like I said, I think Colorado is amazing. I think that their team is incredible. They're fast. They move the puck well. But I think that much like the Caps, shutting down a fast team, like there are ways to do that. And I think that, I was blown away with that 4-1 score last night. I was like, wow, that is a veteran team that has incredible playoff experience.
Bingo.
And, right. It's not going to be a cakewalk for Colorado. I do still think that Colorado wins the series.
I do too.
It's not going to be easy.
No, and actually
sweep like it was in Nashville.
No, not at all. And I'll tell you what, I think maybe if there was a series that's going to go 7, I might have been wrong on my sixes prediction here. Right? I don't know if I can fudge that on Facebook. I don't know if there's a way to do that.
Where you just edit your post and put a 7 there.
Yeah, but that's I want to make it look like I actually tried to, almost like a fake license.
Yeah.
Chalk your license when you're.
If there's going to be one.
Chalk your license.
Yeah.
Scott, how old are you?
Listen, I just want to relive the days of my youth.
But
if they scan those things now, put all the fun out of it.
It's a barcode.
Yeah.
But if there was going to be one upset, this would be the one.
You're going St. Louis.
No, I want to stay with Colorado, but but if you were to pick, oh my God, this would be the one.
I would say so.
Yeah.
I would say so for sure.
I would say, I guess if I had to pick, like, what's the upset? I guess Tampa's lower rated than Florida.
Yeah,
right?
You're right. But how does the Stanley Cup champion advancing?
That would probably be my upset pick.
Yeah. It's certainly, by the numbers, it's definitely an upset. But, man, it sounds so weird, doesn't it? Yeah, the defending Stanley Cup champions upset the Florida Panthers. It doesn't roll off the tongue for some reason. I don't know.
Well, I thought that Colorado would actually roll way more over St. Louis, and I definitely underestimated the Blues because of the playoff experience and just like they know how to win in the playoffs.
Right.
It's going to be a tough out, but I think that Colorado still does it. I mean, the skill level and the speed. Like
I think so. I just think in the end there's too many weapons.
Yeah, but that's a great series to watch.
Oh, it is.
Like, it's awesome.
Oh, no doubt. No doubt. But again, like I said, that series to me was the Western Conference version of the Panthers and the Capitals.
Yep.
Exactly almost right. Down to the T, right?
Veteran shutting down club against upstart with speed, for sure.
Exactly. But we're all going Colorado.
Yep.
So we got one more series to talk about. Then we're going to take a quick commercial break, and we got a few odds and ends to tie up. So the Battle of Alberta. We'll save that one. That's the last one. It's the Oilers against the Flames. Honestly, I knew there would be some goals scored. Game one, 15 combined goals. Calgary wins 9-6. You know what? When going into this series, when I was saying about the LA Edmonton series was, well, the Mike Smith pumpkin has to show back up again at some point, right? And that's exactly what happened in game one of Calgary. Is the Flames ran him out of the building. And then Mikko Koskinen came in and got the same treatment. However, with the Oilers, you can never count them out because Connor McDavid goes and gets 4 points. Draisaitl looks to be over the injury that was bothering him against LA. But, again, 9-6. In the playoffs, you cannot expect – I mean, if you're in the playoffs and you put 6 goals on the board and you lose, that's a problem. That's a big problem. And this can't continue to go on. It can't, because Calgary is completely healthy, for starters. 2, their coach, Daryl Sutter, knows a little thing or two about defense. It didn't show in game one. It did not show in game one, but I'll tell you what. Do you really want to go up against somebody like Daryl Sutter in the playoffs, knowing what he knows? Absolutely not.
But what I'll tell you about the Mike Smith pumpkin is that if you watch the beginning of that game, like, those are not soft goals that he was giving up. He was being shelled up close with snipes. Like, he had as many big saves as he let in goals. Like, I think that him getting yanked is not a reflection of his goaltending at all.
Well, you know, we're going to find that out.
Of the defense
well,
could not keep the Flames out of the high pressure areas. Those guys were just ripping shots, and he had as many great saves as he let in. I mean, pulling him was the right thing.
It was a mercy pulling.
It was, and it was the right thing to do to try to change momentum in the game. But, like, you know, I was obviously reading social media, and they were like, "Yeah, get him out of there." I'm like, this dude was getting shelled. Like, he had no defense in front of him.
No.
And you're looking at one of the greatest scoring teams in the West, and they're just hammering him. Like, where's the defense? So it made sense to me that they pulled him. But are you kidding me with that Connor McDavid goal where he pulled it back?
I know.
Just like slipped it through the Calgary Flames goalie's legs.
Yeah.
Like, in the playoffs, under pressure, he just like tucked it in there like he was putting his doll to bed for the night. He was just like, I'll take this one.
Yeah, exactly.
So, yeah, no one's playing defense in that series.
No. And Edmonton's defense is atrocious to begin with.
Yeah. And I think that whoever is able to shut it down, and having Sutter on the coaching bench for the Flames, they should be the ones that shut it down. But 15 goals in the playoffs?
Yeah. One game.
Yeah. That's like preseason. We're not doing this.
That was like time machine back to 1987.
Exactly. This is not how this goes. Right? And I mean, I really love it. I mean, I hate Brady Tkachuk. I hate him. But good for him on getting the hattie.
Oh, Matthew Tkachuk.
His father did not throw the hat.
Yeah.
I don't know if you've seen that.
Yeah, I saw that.
And his brother Matthew was there.
No, Matthew was on the ice. Matthew plays for the Flames.
No,
And
he plays for the Senators.
No, Brady plays for the Senators.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Yeah.
Yeah.
But he was there.
I know what you were talking
cheering on
about,
his
though.
brother.
And people were making such a big deal about that.
I
Why?
think it's awesome.
What is the big deal?
I think it's great.
It's not like he left. It's not like the Senators are in the playoffs, so it's not like he ditched a game of theirs.
He's not cheering against his own team.
No, he's going to back up his brother. Who cares?
I thought that yeah. I mean, I thought it was great that he was there and cheering him on. And you know, I hate that family. I hate
God,
only because they're not on my team. It's like Tom Wilson.
Right?
If he was playing for any other team,
he hates their dog, their cat. Man,
I do.
It's true.
Yeah, see, you don't care.
I don't care.
Nope, I do not like them. But
I do not like them with him. Sam I am.
If they were on my team, I would like them.
Yeah, exactly.
Right?
Exactly.
He plays hard. He plays after the whistle. And man, 9-6. This dude had a hat trick.
Yeah.
Like,
I mean, that is some great breeding.
Yeah, right.
Right? The Kachucks know how to make hockey players.
I guess so.
And this kid is something else. And I knew throughout the season, as much as I hated to see him, and I hated to see him going to the box all the time, like I knew that when push come to shove, this kid is going to put the puck in the net, or he's going to make a difference, and he's going to make a hit that's going to change the game.
Right.
And that's where he is. And I think the Flames win this series because of that. And
I think the Flames are going to take it too.
It's different. And, I always said this about when Lucic was with the Bruins, I said, to win, you need someone like him.
Right.
And the Caps had Wilson.
Sure.
And he's like him. He can score, and
Yep.
he can knock you on your butt.
Yeah.
And Lucic still has that, even though the shine is kind of off it because he's way out playing in Calgary. You just don't get the press. And he doesn't put up the numbers, but I mean, you saw him blow up McDavid the other night.
Oh, absolutely. And that's what you got to do.
Yep.
You got to do. There's no other way around it,
And you can't have these guys who are super skill players. And I mean, you're not going to shut down McDavid. You're just not. He's too good.
You know what stinks though is that game is tonight, and it comes on at 10:30 here in the East. 10:30. I mean, the Ranger game is coming on at 8.
Yeah.
Why? And here you got Connor McDavid, the most exciting player in the game, and the league's always talking about marketing its superstars and all this. You're going to start the game that he's playing in. I mean, I get it's in Calgary, and they're not in the Pacific time zone; they're in the Mountain time zone.
Right.
So they're 2 hours behind, not 3. So why would
you're
you?
You're a Kings fan, dude. Like you watch that shit all year long.
I know, but I'm talking about like the casual fan, right? That you're trying to attract to the game.
You have to have the superstars in at least close to prime time.
Exactly.
To bring in the casual fans. I mean, I listen to this sports show every morning here in DC, and the only thing they talk about is, I mean, the Caps go out, but they talk about football all the time.
Right.
But you know what? If they watched McJesus for one game, like they would be like, wow.
Yeah.
I mean, you don't have to root for him.
No.
But you have to acknowledge the talent.
Oh yeah, no doubt. No doubt about it.
It's really tough. And that 9-6 game was just bananas.
Yeah.
I mean,
I gotta hope we get another one tonight.
To watch. I love to watch him.
I hope we get another one tonight. Why not?
Yeah.
We don't have a skin in the game. Who cares?
Yeah. I think that you're looking at Flames Avalanche, and you're looking at Rangers Lightning for your next round.
Well, I got to stay with my Florida pick because I already put it out there. I'm going Florida, Carolina, and I'm going Avalanche, Flames. So, what do you think, Dave? Who's going to win the Battle of Alberta?
What do you got, Dave?
I'll flip you guys. I'll go with Edmonton.
All right. That's good, though. I like this.
Yeah.
I like this. Somebody bucking the trend. Yeah. I like it. I like it a lot.
You would.
So there you have it. There's our
you can rag on me next week.
No,
I won't. I told you, you're a Jedi now.
The only way that Edmonton wins is if Evander Kane steps up and is like really laying the lumber on people.
You know what I want to see?
Like,
I want to see him tangle with Lucic.
Oh, no, you don't.
Yeah.
It's got to be. I mean, Edmonton does not have the physical game for the playoffs unless Evander Kane steps up. They just don't. And I mean, they have the incredible skill players, but how easy is it to shut down those guys with just physical play?
Right.
Let's get the word to him.
Yeah, exactly. Just make sure it's in a primetime game.
Yeah.
Right. Not these 10:30, and then you got to watch the highlights the next day.
Yeah. All right. So what we're going to do is we're going to go do a quick commercial break here. First, we're going to get a quick word from our friends at the Balls Army here. We got Josh Amodio, who was just on last week, or well, this week actually. I'm in the one show a week mode. Yeah. Priceless inspections. He's a home inspection. Huh?
Yeah. I saw those guys. Those guys are all in for the Devils.
Yeah, they're awesome. They are awesome. And anyway, this is Josh's business, Priceless Inspections. He's a home inspector. If you need your home inspected, you can get a hold of him at 315-525-8725. And then, of course, the leader of the Balls Army, Mr. Scott Schuster, has Epic DJ Service. You can get a hold of him at 315-219-3568. Believe me when I tell you, if you've seen him in action at the Adirondack Bank Center, you want him DJing your party. No doubt. So let's do some breakaway trivia here, and then we're going to go to our commercial break.
Oh.
Yeah, breakaway trivia this week. All I want to know is this. What year did the Stanley Cup become exclusive to the NHL? The answer when we come back.
Visit My Little Falls and stay connected with the latest news, information, and events in the city and the area. Our mission is to generate interest in the community and connect residents in a more meaningful way by facilitating deeper conversations about how these stories will shape the future of the Mohawk Valley. Join thousands of weekly visitors who stay up to date with feature stories, interviews, videos, our event calendar, and print publication, the Mohawk Valley Express. It's about timely local news for the community, keeping citizens informed about important issues, telling about the people who live and work here, and giving locally owned businesses the opportunity to reach a very targeted audience of locals and tourists alike. It's a whole new form of media-rich content developed specifically for today's mobile lifestyle and listeners. You can download our iOS app in the iTunes Store, listen to our country music streaming radio station, or sign up for a weekly newsletter. Stop by today at mylittlefalls.com. You'll be glad you did.
You know, by the end of that commercial, it almost looks like you're a Tampa Bay Lightning fan because you got the lightning bolts going across.
I do some lightning bolts on there if you want.
Oh, that'd be awesome. That would be awesome. We got to do that next week.
Oh, no.
Anyways, breakaway trivia. What year did the Stanley Cup become exclusive to the NHL? And I'm going to explain this because Dave was actually asking, and you know what? I thought about it. I'm like, there's a little bit of a backstory with the Stanley Cup. So the Stanley Cup was donated by Lord Stanley in 1893. He was the Governor General of Canada at the time, and it was meant to be awarded to the best amateur teams in Canada. Well, as time went on and more teams became professional, it became what they call a Challenge Cup, where there it is.
Is it a cigarette lighter?
Yeah, I was going to say.
It looks like it, but if you look over my other shoulder, I have a series of the evolution of the Stanley Cup.
Oh, nice.
Oh, that's awesome.
So it starts here with just the top.
Yeah.
Which is the original Lord Stanley's Cup.
The bowl.
And it was definitely the Montreal Maroons that won it initially, but I don't think that was the NHL.
No.
I think that was a Challenge Cup at that time.
Right.
So it was
because
anyone.
The NHL wasn't formed until 1917.
That's right.
And then it would be amateur teams challenging the NHL champion for the cup. And then it would be because there was the Western League, the Professional League of the West, actually was a part of all this too. So it became a big menagerie, really. But eventually it became the sole possession of the NHL to be awarded to the NHL champion. And I want to know what year it was. What was the year?
1934.
Drew?
No, it's before that.
But not much.
I'll go 1920. That's not right, but it's close.
That's
you know,
right.
you guys are. If you put this reminds me
Put
of
the two of us together and
you know,
split the
I'm gonna
difference.
you know what
Yeah.
this reminds me of. The Price is Right.
It is.
This really
I don't
does,
wanna go over.
right?
100%.
Come on down.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You guys are. It's right smack dab in the middle, 1926.
See?
I originally was going to say
Closest
27,
to
and
ours
I
going
thought
over, Dave.
I was going to say
I'm
27,
going on
and then I
the
thought no, 10 years wasn't enough time from 17 to 27. Maybe it went a little bit more, so I was going with 34. That's why.
Well,
But 27 was my first guess.
okay.
You would have been like, oh,
No, I'd have been like, I wasn't watching your phone,
I was not on my phone.
and you got a computer in front of you, and I can't see the screen.
You can see the whole screen is
So,
right there.
I don't know.
Everything
You're-
I see
listen,
is right there.
this
You're
goes-
the producer, tech guru around here. I'm sure you can do some trickiness with that thing that I have no idea
So,
what you're doing.
I
So,
could,
So
but
this
you
one
can
goes
actually
to
see
19.
everything.
oh,
This one goes to 1913, like this one.
Okay.
And you said what year, Scott?
1926.
You know, Drew, all the people that are listening can't see what you're showing.
But that's okay.
That's okay.
It's a visual. You got to imagine. You know what? That's actually good research.
That's
So
true.
this
If somebody
one
like me, if I was just listening, I would be like all over Google right now.
Yeah.
this one is 24 to 27.
Nice.
Oh,
You
that's
see what the
that's
cup
nice.
looked like
Yeah.
There it is.
in those
That's so
days,
cool. That
Very
is
cool,
so
yeah.
cool.
right? It's very different, but still has the Lord Stanley's Cup at the top.
That's all
Yeah.
right, Drew. We
absolutely.
see it. We don't want to
I
memorize
mean, but you saw the Caps the way that they celebrated, right? They won the cup.
Oh boy. All right. So moving right along, because don't forget, we talked about this at the beginning of the show.
it. Yeah, we're a minute over already.
We got date night. So
Yeah.
before we end up divorced, just want to go over real quick. The New York Islanders fired Barry Trotz as their coach in a surprising move. Quite shocking, actually. Lane Lambert was hired to replace him. Lambert was an assistant under Barry Trotz. So everybody at first is going, well, you're replacing Barry Trotz with like a generic version of Barry Trotz, right? But from what I hear, the players absolutely love this Lane Lambert, and apparently he's willing to open up the offense a little bit more. So leads me to believe what the heck happened behind the scenes between Lamoriello and Trotz, which, anything to do with Lou Lamoriello, you're not going to get it out of him. It's going to be like trying to crack national security. So forget that. However, there are 4 openings in the NHL for head coaching vacancies. The Winnipeg Jets, the Philadelphia Flyers, the Vegas Golden Knights, and as of today, Rick Bowness from the Dallas Stars stepped down as coach. Now, Trotz is interviewed already in Winnipeg and Philadelphia. Drew, where does he end up?
Well, it's really an interesting call because Trotz won the cup in Washington and then left. I say left, and I think that it was not necessarily mutual. First of all, his goalie coach is Mitch Korn. So
One of the most sought-after
wherever
goalie
he
coaches in the
ends
league.
up, your goalie is going to be 10 times better.
Right.
Mitch Korn is the man. He made Braden Holtby's career, and when he left, Holtby's career went into the toilet. After Trotz left in Washington, he left his first assistant, which was Todd Reardon, whom, I've met and is a great guy. Gave me, I have pictures of him with, I have his Stanley Cup ring on my finger. He was next in line. Him going to Long Island was a great fit. And look what he has done since he's been there. Right? He's handed a GM of the year to Lamoriello. He's won Coach of the Year. He's won the division. And this year, where he started with, 18, 20 games on the road because the arena wasn't done. My question is, wherever he goes, who's going to be his assistant that's going to take over for him after he's canned the next time?
Well,
It's
don't forget,
ridiculous.
too.
Lane Lambert is amazing. He's a great coach. He's been through so much in his life. I think he lost his wife to cancer when he was younger. He's a great coach. Everyone loved him in Washington. It's been him and Mitch Korn and Barry for so long together. I cannot believe, first of all, that the Islanders fired him. And It is nuts to think that, all right, he's from Manitoba. So the Jets makes 1,000,000,000% sense. Like, if they want him, he's going there. The Flyers, I would hate him there because as a Caps fan, we're going to play him all the time. I don't want him there. He's qualified for that. This dude is a great, great coach. He did not lose the room in Long Island. Lamoriello has a very short fuse and he's not tolerant of fluctuation in the room.
Right.
Right. I mean, to lose him is, the Islanders will be worse next year. And it's not a dig at Lane Lambert. Lane Lambert was great as an assistant coach here. He ran the defense for DC and changed them very significantly. But I was shocked that they canned him.
I will say this.
I was really surprised.
So I did a little research. And apparently Lane Lambert was a sought after commodity. And he needed a new contract. So it almost looks like the Islanders were backed into a corner. And you had to choose between Trotz and Lambert. So I don't know what happened between Trotz and Lamoriello. Obviously something happened.
Yeah.
We'll probably find out 10 years later.
Yeah.
But for the here and now, I don't see Trotz going to Philadelphia. I just don't. Philadelphia is a young team. They need more of like a younger, like almost like a college ranks coach that's worked with the younger players and all that.
Yeah.
To me, Barry Trotz in Winnipeg is the perfect fit.
Yep.
Perfect. You got a veteran heavy team.
I agree.
You got a defensive style team, which is right down Trotz's alley.
It is.
Could you imagine what Connor Hellebuck's going to become?
Oh, yeah.
Think about that for a minute.
Yeah. They're going to protect him. But the thing is, don't sleep on Trotz's offense. Like, I think he gets a label as a defensive coach, but I think that they move the puck up the ice quick. They're a quick strike offense, and then they back into that 1-3-1 where they shut people down in the neutral zone. And
let me say this though: where on the Islanders do they have anybody comparable to Kyle Connor or Nick Ehlers? Nowhere.
Yeah.
So that's the other thing too. So I personally think he ends up in Winnipeg. That's my thought.
That's kind of like, I think that is his best fit, and I think that's where he's going to ride out the string, right? Like, that's where he's from,
right?
He's got family there. Like, Winnipeg will be in the playoffs next year if Trotz is at the helm, 100%.
No doubt.
Yeah, and I cannot believe that the Islanders were so short-sighted. I was shocked. I was like,
yeah. That's after everything he's done for him.
And maybe there's something that I'm not seeing, because like we saw it with the Caps, and they had Todd Reirden kind of waiting in the wings.
Yeah, that didn't work out.
Times. And Trotz wins the Cup. Reirden has 2 first-round exits. I don't know.
Yeah, I know.
But yeah, I was shocked. Yeah, I was shocked. And I do think that he ends up in Winnipeg, and I think that that's a great fit for both. I think that he's going to excel. I think that the Jets will be a better team because of it.
No doubt about it.
Yep.
All right, so we're going to close because, like, me and Dave are probably going to
have date night. I don't know how you guys.
Well, listen, this is going to end up like the Odd Couple. Our wives are going to be so mad. Dave and I are going to have to move in together.
No.
But I just want to close out real quick. Our Utica Comets suffered a heartbreaker last night, an absolute heartbreaker, losing Game 5 and they're against the Rochester Americans, and they're out of the Calder Cup playoffs. There's no sense in beating a dead horse, right? We all know what happened in the game. It wasn't meant to be. But I do want to say just a shout out and a congratulations to the Utica Comets and the coaching staff and the players and the organization in general on a fantastic season. Nobody, and I mean nobody, picked this team to do what they did. And to go out and win the Eastern Conference the way they did, the record was like 43-28-1. I mean, it was a wagon all year long. And, this is what happens in hockey. Sometimes you just don't get the breaks. You don't get the bounces. I wonder what could have been. There it is right there. 13-0-0-0 to start the AHL record for starting 13 wins to start the regular season. But I wonder how much different that series would have been if they'd have had Riley Walsh and Freddie Gauthier. Not making excuses at all. That's injuries. That's the game. It's part of it. But man, Riley Walsh only played in game one. It turns out he had an appendectomy done. His appendix burst.
Whoa.
Oh, wow.
That's what happened.
Oh,
that's why he was out.
Yeah.
And, without him driving the offense from the blue line, and then, of course, Robbie Russo got suspended in game 4. We'll talk about that on Tuesday or Wednesday, whenever we're going to do the next show. Freddie Gauthier, the guy's a face-off machine, and he's a penalty-killing machine. He had been out since the beginning of April, so they did have time to adjust. But you know what? The regular season and the playoffs, as we know, are completely different animals. And man, Freddie, if they could have just got him back, I think that would have been a difference maker right there, because the penalty kill would have been, much better off with Freddie Gauthier in the lineup, and especially with an explosive team like Rochester is. But anyways, it's all over. But like I said, congratulations to the Comets on a great season. Congratulations to the Amerks. You won. You're moving on. You're playing the Laval Rocket in the North Division Final, which starts tomorrow night, apparently. So that's it. That's all I got to say about that for now. I think we're gonna talk more about this next week. But
we can do Go Riggies.
Oh yeah,
sorry.
Well, that was. You know what? Before we go, we're already in trouble anyway.
I know.
We're already in trouble. So
but let's not get into
that. Was the big battle? Was chicken riggies versus the garbage plate, right? Yep. The local cuisine in Rochester. Man, you want to talk about just hockey? You have fan bases arguing about food. Fantastic.
I think it started with that one kid with a sign, right?
Some kid holding up a sign saying chicken riggies suck, and that just lit the powder keg. That was it.
That was the end.
It's like,
I saw it. I was like, asshole. Who's that kid's parents? God, man.
But it's next year they're going to have the Chicken Riggy Cup.
Oh, we'll talk to the 315 foodies about that.
There you go.
There we go.
The Chicken Riggy Cup next year. Yep. Book it.
Yeah.
All right. So I'll tell you what, we're going to close out here because, like I said, Dave and I have got to get to date night, and we don't want this to turn into an episode of The Odd Couple. So, Drew, coming back next week?
I don't know about next week. You guys have the AHL next week, but yeah, if we're talking about the National League, I'm all in.
All right. I will.
But also, I would like to say that congratulations to your wives for putting up with you two guys.
Yeah, no kidding, right? Well, yeah, listen, 100%. If you watch this show next week and we both got black eyes and, right, bruises and bumps and all that.
You guys are definitely outpicking the coverage. Both of you.
But anyways, Drew, thanks a million for coming on, man. Really appreciate it.
Always, bud.
And of course, Marty's Legal Stick, you can find us on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, YouTube, and of course at martyslegalstick.com. Matter of fact, this weekend I'm going to have an article about the contract status of every single Utica Comet. So it'll be interesting. Anyways, for Drew Berry, for Scott Kimball, for Dave the Save Warner, I'm Scott Kimball. Boy, I hammered that one. Thanks for listening. We'll see you next week.
Good night, boys.